Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. Today we get Nvidia's answer to the GPU shortage, a new competitor, Nvidia goes open source with this, and the first MCM GPU is massive. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, if you follow the channel, which you definitely should if you like gaming hardware news. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if you follow the channel, you know that we've seen some rumors on an upcoming 12GB RTX 2060. Well, that's now looking more and more official, as Gigabyte recently listed 4 12GB 2060 models on the EEC. Basically, the card is likely coming, and that's sad, but also sort of good. It's sad because it shows just how terrible the state of the market is right now. That Nvidia would feel that they could release an updated version of a 3-year-old GPU and it actually sell, and of course it almost certainly will. But if we can accept how bad the market is, it may actually help. For one, Turing is built on a completely different process than Ampere, specifically TSMC's 12nm process, which is almost certainly nowhere near as booked as their 7nm, so they should be able to supply quite a bit. The only issue would be some shortage in raw materials, but overall this should mean more GPUs. Not only that, but the 2060 can't pump out nearly as many hashes for miners, so it won't be as attractive to them. Basically, this could be a great way to pump a ton more GPUs into the market. I guess time, as always, will tell. But first, if you love talking PC hardware and gaming, make sure to join the GamerMeld Discord server. It's a place for hardware enthusiasts like yourself to talk about what you love. And it's free. Just visit discord.gg/gamermeld and get to talking. Next up, it looks like Intel and AMD are set to have some new competition. In a new story from Tom's Hardware, Qualcomm is talking all kinds of smack about their x86 rivals. So far, the company has released a few chips on PC, but they're really just slightly better smartphone chips. Well, that's set to change, as the next generation Qualcomm SoCs are set to be made specifically for PC, and could actually challenge the big players. You can see that Qualcomm actually says on a slide during their investor day, quote, "Positioned to be the preferred platform for PCs in the inevitable transition to ARM." Whoa. Talk about a bold statement. Of course, people have been saying this for years, but with support on Windows getting better and better, things could begin to shift. Really though, I think there's a long way to go. Either way, Qualcomm is set to release their next generation SoCs for notebooks by 2023. Next up for today, Nvidia officially unveiled their newest version of DLSS, called DLSS 2.3, as well as a huge update that's clearly in response to AMD. In a new video from the company, they go over some of the improvements they made with DLSS 2.3, like less ghosting and flickering, etc. But in the process, they throw some serious shade to AMD. During the video, they talk about AMD's FSR, referring to it as spatial upscaling and discussing how old the tech is, while confirming that they've had it on GeForce for years. And you can see here that they compare their own to AMD's FSR, claiming that it works on all games, so they're clearly trying to bash it pretty hard. Though I have no doubt that image is a best case scenario. Either way, what's even more interesting is that Nvidia actually just made their upscaler open source, saying that it will work on all GPUs and all games. Basically, it's obvious that Nvidia only did this in response to AMD's FSR, especially given they even admitted to having it for years.
And we've offered a scaling and sharpening option in our game-ready driver for some time now.
And of course, that's nothing against Nvidia, but really just a proof of how good competition in the market is. We'll have to see how it really compares to AMD's FSR, but ultimately, I'd say this is great news for everyone. Nvidia is also releasing a frame comparison tool called iCat that should make it much easier to compare different upscaling tech. What's better is that it works on not just images, but video. Ultimately, the upscaling competition seems to really be heating up. And lastly for today, we know that AMD recently announced the first MCM GPU, given it's already shipping while Intel's Ponte Vecchio has been delayed again and again. If you follow the channel, you know that I'm really excited for the prospect of MCM GPUs in gaming, and this release is the first step towards that. Well, the first images of the upcoming MI250X were recently shared by Serve the Home, and as you can see, it's absolutely massive. In fact, according to a rough estimate from Tom's Hardware, each GPU die looks to be 790mm squared, For reference, Nvidia's A100 is considered huge at 826mm squared. And that may sound like more, but remember that's 790 per die. There's 2 dies. Basically, this thing is an absolute monster. And really, that's a big benefit of a multi-chip module. See, you can either make transistors smaller or make chips bigger. But there's a limit to how big a chip can get, because the bigger it gets, the higher chance something goes wrong, and you have to throw it out or bin it, causing yield rates to plummet drastically. Eventually, you get to a point where the price would be so high it just isn't worth it, and Nvidia seem to be teetering on the edge of where that is. MCM GPUs allow you to go bigger by combining multiple smaller modules. That's how AMD can get CPUs with so many cores, and it's why some of them are so big. It's also one of the reasons why they were able to undercut Intel by so much. Now, the MI250X is obviously still set to be extremely expensive given each die is so huge, but it shows just how big MCM GPUs can get. Now the question is about keeping that monster cool. So while that does it for today, are you excited for MCM GPUs, or are you just pumped for competition in the upscaling tech? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe. And as always, have a great day!